Collective Podcast. My name is Brendan McKeigan. With me, as always, is Sean Tasse. And today I had a mocha coffee, something or other, whatever it's called. Half hot chocolate, half coffee. Delicious for this time of year. Sean, how are you, my friend?
Probably not as good as you. Where did you get that from? That sounds wonderful.
I just made it.
Oh, wow. That is gold. I am doing very well. I think a lot of the sickness that's been in our house seems to be on its way out. So thank heavens for that. We're now into December. It's the festive season. I've got my Meowie Christmas shirt on. Don't like cats, but I like this shirt. So
see, I always wonder why people don't like cats or don't like dogs.
Oh, I'll tell you, it's because I don't like cleaning litter boxes. That's the reason.
Okay. That's it.
Cats are great. I don't like the ownership of cats. Sorry.
Right. So when you take your dog for a walk, does that mean you don't clean up after it?
That's not true. I do clean up after my dog. I also don't like cleaning up after my dog. It's the smell of the litter box. I really like it. Just hits me wrong. Yeah. I used to have cats. Like I like animals. I don't want to own a litter box. I don't want to own a litter box. If I could own a cat if I could potty train a cat, good.
Oh, well, then do it.
I don't have time for that.
Great. There goes my Christmas gift. Yeah. Now I've got an extra cat running around the house.
Yeah.
Because we need those. Getting back to the Real Collective Podcast. Yes. We're in a changing market, and with that, we're getting back into things that kind of help protect. I'm going to say both sides, but definitely more on the buyer side. They can maybe protect the seller, depending on what it is. But we're talking about having conditions in an offer and what it means now, and then what it means as a buyer, what it means as a seller, and then what it means if homes don't live up to whatever those conditions are. And again, there's nothing that's a pass or a fail. There's nothing like that. It's basically, are you willing to take on whatever is wrong with the home or whatever is wrong with the septic or the well or anything like that? That's what it is. You get the report and then you make your decision, and you either walk away or you take it on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the last 2 or 3 years, while people have been making multiple offers on homes, they haven't been including a home inspection condition. Some of them have, a lot of them haven't. And essentially the buyers were paying more for houses and bearing all the risk that goes along with not knowing what it is you're going to get in terms of, what you might find in a home inspection. Now, as agents, of course, we're not inspectors, but we go through and we know some things to look for in houses, visually to an extent. But I mean, we don't go in the attic. We don't look, inside and underneath the electrical panel, that sort of stuff. So, an inspector is typically trained to look for the things that we can't see. And especially as you get into specialty items like wells and septics, caveat emptor means buyer beware, has been the saying for the last 2-3 years. But with the shifting market, we're seeing a lot more houses that are selling with conditions, with home inspection conditions. And then the question is, if you're buying a house and you've got that home inspection condition, what does that process look like? And we'll talk about that in the first section. Then the second section, if you're selling a house, you get an offer and it's got that home inspection condition, what do you do to set yourself up for success? So on the buyer side and on the seller side, how do you make sure that you're successful moving through this process? I think that's what we'll talk about.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as a buyer, what you're getting right now is a little bit more of that freedom to load up your offer with everything just to cover all your bases. Like conditional on financing, you could have a cash purchase ready to go, but conditional on financing, conditional on well inspection, septic inspection, home inspection, roof inspection, because some reason home inspectors don't cover a roof. They do. Garage inspection. I don't know. Maybe not a separate garage, but
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that you can really load them up now, because that's the market that we're in, is you kind of have that ability to do that. And it makes you, I think it definitely makes you feel a little bit safer in the market as a buyer. Because before, as someone who works predominantly with buyers, our only recourse was getting an inspection done before the offer date, if we really wanted an inspection. And that was one of those things where it's like, well, it's $500 or $600 now that could potentially save you 10 to 50,000 or whatever it is, so
or 600,000, because you simply walk away from the house that's a lemon. I mean, we've had clients do that, and it's great. I'd rather walk away from a junk house than have some clients buy something that, we missed that issue, and then they're stuck in a house with a major issue, because theoretically they're going to be reaching back out to us to sell it in X number of years. And if we have to sell it, we know about that issue, it's going to make it even harder. Right. So, it's been a good shift towards client protection and ensuring that, as you're going through the process and you show up for your home inspection, we're there with you as your agent. We're there with you with the home inspector through the whole thing. And one of the first things that we typically say is, expect that you're going to find 1 to 3% of the purchase price of your home for repairs and fixes for things that you find in the inspection. So if you're buying a house that's $600,000, for example, expect that there's going to be between $6,000 and $18,000 in non-cosmetic repairs, whether that's grading the outside of the house so the water slopes away, or recaulking the seals around the windows and the gaskets and all of that sort of thing. Those are typical things that you expect to find in any inspection. Doing the caulking around the sink and the base of the toilet, and maybe a wax ring on the toilet, little things that sort of, they're typical wear and tear items, and they just go over time. And you'll have to do that. The inspector will find it. Really, what you want to find, or I guess what you don't want to find, is the big ticket items that need to be repaired or replaced, whether it's the furnace or the AC, or there's a major electrical or plumbing issue, or a huge structural deficiency that somehow we didn't notice.
Right. Stuff that you don't see on the initial showing.
Right. But I mean, we're finding a lot of these things in advance, thankfully. So when we go to show a house, we're picking it apart more than trying to sell it. But all of that sort of, when you start your inspection, just know there's going to be things that are in the inspection that it's like, oh, okay, well, we have to fix this. Oh, well, we have to put a GFCI plug in close to the whatever. And, you can do that for, a couple $1,000s, and it still falls under the realm of that 1 to 3% of the purchase price of the home. So yeah, I
feel like I could replace a GFI outlet for like $50.
I tried to once, and I actually electrocuted myself.
Really? Oh,
I didn't go back the second time to turn the power off. And so I went the first time to turn it off, I went to go and test it. It didn't work. And then I went to go and before I went to go and turn it off, before fixing it, I just started fixing it, and I shocked myself. So I will not replace a GFCI. The outlet itself, like the actual plug, is probably like $20 or $30. Maybe it's $50 now with inflation. But I don't know. Thank you. I'm good. I'll get someone who can do it.
I have the outlet tester. So if it's like dead or whatever, not responsive, if it's live. And then I also have the electrical charge tester pen. So when you put it on the actual live wire, it's going to beep if it's on and not if it's off. So I make sure, and then we're good. And we're good. Simple stuff like that. But those are the kind of things, right? Like you take those on, or you have someone that knows what they're doing to take those on. And that's not like a major thing. It's more like, this house is, for some reason, maybe it's 5-10 years old, but maybe they put in half the insulation they were supposed to, and now you're looking at re-insulating the attic or something. I mean, it happens. People just overlook stuff, especially with how fast some of those homes were built and how much some things got overlooked. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's not like it's an all the time case, but it does happen, you know. It's the same with a car. Every once in a while, it's a production line, and then one of them just turns out to be a lemon. It's not much you can do.
I this is an aside. I'm worried about this new bill, C-23, that passed. More homes built faster. I don't know if you saw that coming. Yeah. They are like, if you think the houses built recently were not built well, they're just gonna like slap them up. And I'm worried about the quality of houses built from like 2023 to whatever it is, like 2033. Right. I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong. But yeah, they're not doing any research or studying or floodplain or environmental assessments before they just start slapping them up. So you see,
it's going to be a lot of happy big bad wolves. Tell you that much. They're just going to huff and puff and blow them all down.
Good reference.
You can tell I've got kids.
So all that to say, all joking aside, if you're a buyer, you're going to go into a house, the inspector's going to walk through the house, going to say, okay, here's the issues with the house. You're going to get a report. Okay. The report's going to give you an indication, like you said at the beginning, not of a pass or fail, but here's the issues that you need to deal with. Okay. So you tally up those issues and you say, yeah, okay, you know what? I can handle all of this stuff. Let's move forward. Or you say, yeah, you know what? I can't handle all that stuff. If you can't handle it, that's okay. There's some solutions. You can choose to say, like I said, you can choose to just say, yeah, okay, I'll take care of it. Or you can choose to say, I don't want this house. I'm walking away from it completely. Or maybe if it's somewhere in the middle, you know, hey, this furnace is going to cost whatever it is, $5,000 to replace. I want them to either replace the furnace or amend the pricing to offset the cost of replacing the furnace. And typically you'd ask for a new furnace, which is $5,000. And typically the seller will come back and say, I'm not giving you a new furnace. I'll give you $2,500 off the price, or I'll split the cost of it with you. Typically, that's what you wind up seeing. Okay, you have an ask, and then there's a counter offer, and sometimes the buyers will just put everything on their list, and they'll tally it all up, and they say, "Here's my total. Give me this." You know, there's a $20,000 total. Give me $20,000 off the price. And again, they're doing it to try you on. But we'll get into what it's like to be a seller on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing too. If you're genuinely interested in a property, I don't think it's a good idea to use an inspector that also sells the product that they're inspecting. So if you've got, there's a great well inspector that all the realtors know because he's fantastic. He does a great job, but he's not trying to sell you on a new well. Whereas sometimes with home inspectors, maybe they don't, not as much, but like if you get a roof inspector that also sells you shingles and sells new roof, like that's their business. Like, oh yeah, you need a new roof. Well, of course you're going to say
2 years old.
Yeah, right. Oh, these shingles are awful. What is that made out of? Bacon?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I would say be wary about who you're choosing to do your inspections.
Yeah, fair. Absolutely. There is definitely a potential for a conflict of interest. Same if you're doing like a plumbing, like if you've found some stuff in the inspection and you want to bring in a professional plumber or a professional electrician, or a furnace inspector, watch for that conflict of interest. Not just in wells and septics, but also in the other things that you're getting professionals in to look at over and above a home inspector.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes they don't enter care at all.
Well done.
I only did that for the pun. All right, we're going to take a quick break. They're probably a great company. We'll come back and talk about it from the seller side. And in the meantime, you can watch one of our videos because they're great. Maybe a different Christmas one. We have many. So we'll pop it in the link below. Not again, because I didn't say it the first time, but please like, subscribe, and share the channel on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, all the Apple Podcasts, Apple Music, if you put background music to it, as long as it's stock free. Okay, we'll be right back.
This episode of the Real Collective podcast is brought to you by Real Collective. Real Collective brings together best-in-class real estate agents and collective experts in the field to deliver the best possible service to our clients. We govern ourselves with honesty, open-mindedness, and compassion. With diverse skill sets, our agents are able to better serve a wide array of clients, including first-time buyers, first-time sellers, transferees, estate sales, investors, and rural, vacation, and luxury properties. Authenticity and transparency are pillars of our process, which allows us to put our clients at the center of everything we do. Our years of experience and knowledge allow us to deliver prestigious service and optimal results. If you are interested in buying or selling your home, contact us today at realcollective.ca.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second half of the Real Collective podcast. Hope you enjoyed that video. And if you did, I hope you shared it on your page because it's kind of funny. I don't know which one we're putting in there yet, but it's probably still kind of funny. They're timeless, like Christmas movies themselves. Our Christmas listing videos are timeless, although the homes are sold.
We might have some new ones coming out soon.
New Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yes, let's do that.
Good.
Okay, second half. We talked a little bit about it from the buyer side of things and what the conditions are and how it's a little bit better for you. Now let's look at it from the seller's side of things, because sometimes you might feel like you're in limbo, not knowing what to do. But the best thing you can do is get ahead of it.
It is so stressful when you're a seller and you're waiting in that limbo, that conditional period where it's like, are the buyers going to be able to put their financing together? What are they going to say about my home inspection? Especially as less houses are selling, sellers are very, very often quite skittish, right? They're really worried about what are the results of the inspection? Are they going to walk away? Because selling a house is stressful. Buying a house is fun. Selling a house is stressful. It's all of that unknown and the fact that everything's up to somebody else. So, like you said, I think the best thing you can do when you're a seller is remove as much of the unknown as possible, and show your house off for what it truly is from the very beginning. Whether that's, like you said, have an inspection done on your house in advance. Or whether it is taking all of the information that you have about your monthly costs that are associated with your heat and your hot water and your taxes, all of the repairs or upgrades that you've done, everything that you've done to the house, anything that you know about the house, any defects about the house, warts and all. Just be really clear about that from the very beginning, and it puts you in a spot where you're a lot more transparent, and I think buyers appreciate that.
Exactly, and that's it, right? Like, theoretically, let's say you get an inspection done before you list. One of two things is great about that. One is you can see what might need some attention, so you can fix it and take care of it. And then when you put up the inspection available for anyone who wants it, you can mark on there, we also took care of this. Here's the receipt for it. Or this has been done. This has been done. Or what you can do is put the price up that reflects the work that needs to be done in the home. Maybe it's something that you don't want to undertake. Maybe you got to move a little bit quicker than it's allowing for to get somebody in there to do what needs to be done. So having that prep work beforehand could be very advantageous. And not only that, like on a monetary level, like you said, it could be worth money at the end. So spending that money on that inspection could save you another $4,000 or $5,000 on negotiations on your house.
Yeah. Well, and especially if you sort of write like, hey, we know we need a new furnace. Here's a quote. It's $5,000 for a new furnace. We've taken this into account when pricing the home.
Exactly.
Now, all of a sudden, someone's not going to come back and say, oh, you need a new furnace. Give me $5,000 off the price. No. We told you this from the very beginning. So this is something you knew about. Again, it's about giving more information to the buyer to help you out long term as the seller, right?
Yeah. And just having that stuff readily available, like, in this day and age when it's not a buyer's market necessarily, but like to have as much documentation as you can. And this is something that a lot of people even did in the seller's market to get more offers was to pay for these inspections, because you had people who didn't want to. They didn't want to buy a house without having whatever inspections needed to be done. So by getting it done ahead of time, you're putting a buyer at ease that this stuff has been done. And if they want to have their own person come through and do another one, then maybe, as long as the offer's right. But I think it kind of puts you as much in the driver's seat as possible as a seller.
I'm going to make this announcement now. And if you are selling your house, this is a shameless plug. If you are selling your house and you're either watching this video or listening to it, and you're like, oh, hey, I'm going to sell my house, but I need to do a home inspection. If you reference this video, we'll pay for your home inspection. How's that?
I think there should be an asterisk that flashes on the screen that as long as you are a signed client.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course.
It's like, hey, this guy's giving out home inspections.
we have to be the people who are selling your house.
Yeah. No, but I think that's kind of one of those things that you do, right? It's it helps, I think, everybody.
Yeah.
Because usually that's the big thing. As a seller, there's not much you can do when somebody has financing in their offer besides accept it or not. Right. Or take it away.
You can ask. I mean,
that's it, right? Like it's about asking questions, like, "Hey, are they pre-approved?" And a lot of times, like, yeah, they're pre-approved for sure. They just want to make sure that they get it for this specific property, because that's a different thing, right? So,
and you can ask. I mean, you can ask for a letter too, right? Like you can ask for a letter from the mortgage broker. Hey, you're pre-approved. Yeah, okay, cool. Give me the letter. Or let me speak with their mortgage broker, or whatever it is, right? Like as the seller, the more control you can take of the situation, the less out of control you're going to feel, right? Yeah. And a lot of this is to put you in a position where you're like, no, you know what? Our house is good. Like we've really, crossed every T, dotted every I. We've really taken really great care of it. So we're not worried about what the inspection is going to do. And then you as a seller are relying on your agent to ask all the right questions to ensure that, hey, this buyer is going to be able to finance this property, right? So it comes down to asking questions and to not rolling over. When they come back after the inspection, they say, oh, well, hey, you know what? We found $10,000 worth of work to do. So you take $10,000 off the price and you got yourself a deal. As the seller, you can kind of push back a little bit and say, no, we're not taking $10,000 off the price. Mm-hmm. They still want to move forward with it. Right. And if they liked your house enough to put an offer on it, they shouldn't walk away from it for $10,000. You look at what some people were doing during the peak, right? And they were paying $100,000, $200,000 over, and only to wind up with, another $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 problem that they didn't know that they were going to have to deal with, in a multiple offer, no condition situation. So, you don't have to just give. A lot of the times what we're finding now is instead of giving money off, if they come with specific issues, then we'll say, okay, cool, we'll deal with that issue. You want us to, recock the thing for you? Sure. You want us to put a GFCI? Sure. You want us to do a full, we've got a couple places where there's aluminum wiring. You want us to get a professional electrician to come and pigtail the whole house and give you a report? Sure. Right. So rather do the work than give the money. Right.
Yeah.
And we've got
that's all just personal preference, right? Some people are like, no, I'll do the work and I'll shop around and find somebody and I'll use my person instead of yours and I'll get you the receipt for it so that you can see.
Right. And that even fits in with originally, if we know we've got to put a new furnace in and it's $5,000 and the buyer comes along and says, oh, well, they've already taken the $5,000 furnace into consideration. Well, you know what? I got a buddy who's in the HVAC business. I can get a furnace for $3,000. So I'm actually coming out ahead because these guys thought it was $5,000. And so the buyers feel like they've got to win. If you're again, relaying this information in advance of the inspection. The other thing is, if you are a homeowner and there is an inspection going on, please make sure the parts of your home that need to be accessed by the inspector are accessible. So if there's an attic that's in a closet, remove the stuff from the closet so they can get up into the attic and they don't have to get attic dust and insulation all over your clothes. If they need to get the electrical panel, but you've got like Rubbermaids stacked on top of Rubbermaids, all in front of the electrical panel. Just move them out of the way so they can, get in around behind. If it's a septic system, provide access to, like dig it up so that the covers are accessible. Make it so that everything is accessible. If it's a well, make sure it's clearly marked. Like, yeah, here's the well. If it's snowy, shovel, right?
Yeah, shovel around it, especially for a well, because they're so hard to find. Sometimes they're in the middle of bushes, right? Like around a house. And when it's also snow, it's nearly impossible to find. So shovel it out, stick an orange flag somewhere near it so people know. Just anything, just mark it. Just mark it somehow.
Clearly communicate, right? Yep. Like, hey, here's where this is. Here's how, it's funky or tricky in this particular way. Here's the way to deal with it, right?
And I feel like, I hope that everyone's doing this already, but once you move into a house, that very first day is when you should probably have a home binder. That's basically all the maintenance, all the papers, maybe your offers, anything like that. Any documentation from before you moved in. And then the whole time that you're living there, every time you get something done on the house that either just is maintenance or improves the value of it, keep it in there. Because if the time comes to list, because maybe you get a job opportunity around the world and you got to sell, well, now all of a sudden you're like, oh man, I wish I would have kept that stuff. So now you have it. Like, hey, listen, we did all of this stuff while we lived here. Check it out. And you can leave that out for showings. People can take a look through it. And it's so handy and such a great extra tool to have to help make your home more marketable, even in a buyer's market. Yeah. You're just doing what you can to, again, set buyers at ease.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, as a seller, that's the most important thing that you can do to sort of quell that feeling of being out of control. Right? Because you are out of control. It's all in the hands of the buyers for that limbo conditional sale period. So yeah, it helps. It helps a bit, but you're still going to feel anxious during the conditional period.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. But we're doing what we can to quell that as much as humanly possible. I think no matter what, even on the buyer side of things, once you put an offer in, you're still like, oh, did I do the right thing? Like, you're still in that sense too, right? So yeah, as a seller, just document everything, have everything readily available, have it in a filing cabinet or something, a binder.
I've heard it referred to as when you're giving people so much information that they just can't consume it all. I've heard it called a snow job, where you give them a snow, but here's everything about the house, everything you know about it. I've gone into places with like accordion file folders, like roof, furnace, driveway, painting, like boom, 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 and like going back, original documents and survey and plans for the home. It's like, oh wow. Yeah. So it's and that's all pretty cool stuff, right? People like to see that. So yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I take people through older homes, and buyers love to see, especially on those older homes, what that home looked like in like the 50s or 60s, when it's especially those rural properties, those old farm homes that are built in like the early 1900s or even late 1800s. If you've got pictures of like what it was before and what it is now, especially if it's a nice house, people love that. I mean, I definitely do. I love seeing that stuff. Yeah. It's just extra love factor for potential buyers. So where's the love? It's in your binder or your filing cabinet. Sing it.
No, not doing it. Not doing it.
Worried about copyright infringement.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to get flagged.
Right.
All right. I think that's a good point to wrap it up. I think we've covered both grounds pretty well. If we missed something, put it in the comments. Let us know. If you want to talk to us about it, call us. That's probably the best way. Give us a call or an email. Please like, subscribe, and share the channel if you haven't done so already. That would be fantastic on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. That is going to be great. Next week, we have a very special episode, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because we haven't thought of it yet. So this has been great, though. I think we covered a lot of ground, and I hope you had fun with us. And hope your December is off to a great start by the time you watch this too. I'm Brendan McKeigan. This is Sean Tasse. Until the next one, keep it real.
Collective.